drivers on that overhead shot that Zanardi was perhaps almost getting past Unser. I don't know if he did it. Meanwhile, Gutermann is lapping Christian Danner. That's Christian Danner in the yellow, white and blue car there. The German making another appearance in the kart series this year. Gutermann in second place, Andretti in third, fourth place for De Ferran, fifth place for Greg Moore. And they've all closed up together once more. So it really is getting very close. And the teams in the pit lane are going to be under increasing pressure to put together some very rapid stops. Let me tell you that Dario Franchitti has just come into the pits. He was lying in 11th position before the pit stops, and he has just come into the pits to make his stop. You're watching this battle still at the moment for third, fourth and fifth places. Franchitti's had a good stop, let me tell you. He's back out, or he's running down the pit lane at the moment as I speak, and heading out onto the circuit once more, and hopefully won't have lost too much ground. Andretti's in. Michael Andretti is into the pits now for his stop, and let's keep an eye on Michael Andretti as he comes into the Newman-Haas pit, and he needs one of their best efforts here if he's to stay in the hunt.
Certainly does. It's all the Goodyear guys coming into the pits, isn't it? That's the third of the front runners. We've had Rahal into the pits. We've also had his teammate Brian Herter, and there is the Swift of Michael Andretti. 33 laps, 11.5, a good stop, an excellent stop by the Newman-Haas team. Tim Bumps, of course, the crew chief on Michael Andretti's car. Good stop, visor down, back into the fray.
I wonder if they put quite as much fuel on board as one or two of the others, because it was a very rapid stop there from Michael Andretti, and they may have been working more for track position than necessarily putting the full amount of fuel on board the car. Look at Zanardi. Alex Zanardi now is behind Parker Johnston, and he's moved up into 13th place already. This is the battle for 12th position now, as Zanardi tries to get past another Honda-powered car. He's going for the inside line. Parker Johnston, oh, it's a bit tight, but he does leave him room. I think Zanardi was playing cautious there. He wasn't going to take too many gambles, but in the end, Parker Johnston was prepared to give him the space that he needed, and that means that Alex has now moved up into 12th position, just one behind Bobby Rahal. So it's all changing. Meanwhile, Juan Fangio is in the pit lane now. The Argentinian aboard his Eagle, the only one left in this race now. So he comes back out onto the circuit, and no great time lost there, but he's still running quite a long way down the order. Meanwhile, you're watching Alex Zanardi, who's now got to lap Max Papis and then try and close up to the back of Bobby Rahal. Race leader is Jimmy Vasser. Andre Ribeiro into the pits meanwhile. Coming out of the pits, in fact, he's just made his stop. So, and into the pits has come Bobby. Bobby Rahal is back in the pits. Problems for Bobby Rahal, the early race leader. He made his pit stop, and then he's out of the race. Well, we'll have to find out exactly what's happened to Bobby Rahal. But from running so strongly up front, it's a short day for Bobby Rahal in the end. Very disappointing for him. It really looked today as though he was going to appear on the podium. It's not to be, and hopefully we might get a chance to hear from him soon. Meanwhile, Gilles de Ferran just squeezing past the Herdez car of Michel Jourdain. Greg Moore is right behind him. And let's just draw breath for a moment with all the action that's going on. We've still got a few pit stops to come, haven't we, Jeremy?
Yeah, Gilles de Ferran there, still running now. He's up in the third place. He's gone the longest of anybody on the Goodyear tyres, certainly of the front runners at least. And if I look down the order here, we've got Vasser in front, then Gugelmin. De Ferran on Goodyear's in third place, then Moore, Pruitt, Blundell all on Firestones again, then Christian Fittipaldi in 7th place.
It looks as though Jimmy Vasser's in. He is our race leader into the pits on lap number 35. So they've managed to push this first stop pretty far into the race, and that could well help them later on. So he slides to a halt, and the Ganassi crew go to work. Jimmy has not been in this position all year, having won several races last season. A win has been a long way off this year. The car just rolls a little bit as it comes off the jacks, but no great problems. Little slower than Michael Andretti's stop, about 1.2 seconds slower than Michael Andretti's stop, but he comes out safely. Meanwhile, let me tell you, Mark Blundell is in the pits, and he's making his stop, but it sounds as though we may well have Bobby Rahal down in the pits and a chance to talk to him.
What put you out?
Well, first, the tire wear in the rear was excessive, and when Vasser and everybody got by me, I couldn't brake into the corners very deep. But in the end, the engine broke. You know, we had a good pit stop, making progress, and then the engine just broke.
Any indication that it was going sour, or just all of a sudden?
Just boom.
All right, well, better luck at Laguna.
I hope.
Disappointment for Rahal, and in fact the Ford engine's been very reliable this year so far. Oh, look at that, how close Zanardi was to the back of Gugelmin as Gugelmin came into the pits. In fact, they managed to clear each other. Zanardi has been in then for his stop. We'll have to wait and see how that settles down when he comes back out. Gugelmin, who was leading the race because of coming in a lap later than Jimmy Vasser. Slowish stop, though, for him, 14.4 seconds. He comes back out again just ahead of Vasser. But I think Vasser goes past him as they go out of turn one. So Vasser goes back ahead of Maurizio Gugelmin. It means that Greg Moore had taken over the lead, but he's just been into the pits. In fact, just about everybody of the front runners now making their first pit stop. We're just waiting there for Richie Hearn and Parker Johnston to make their stops as well. And as they all begin to settle back into position, it looks good for Jimmy Vasser. Going through the tunnel there, and Maurizio Gugelmin now having made his stop, but that just dropped him back a little bit behind Vasser, but could be in good shape for the second stint.
Yeah, the gap between them before the pit stops was around about 4 seconds. We'll see what it is when Gugelmin comes past to complete his first flying lap. He certainly got out of the pits marginally ahead of Jimmy Vasser, but of course it took him time to get up to speed. Vasser just flew past him on the front straightaway and is able to pull away. It's probably a good margin past it. They come round to complete lap 38. Jimmy Vasser goes past 4.4 seconds, the gap back to Gugelmin. So the status quo pretty much retained there.
So it's Vasser leading, Gugelmin second. And as you can see, in fact, there are a couple of back markers between them on the road. Vasser trying to find his way through the traffic. He's come up behind Alonso Jr. now in his attempts to go past slower cars. Jr.'s still running in 17th position. And in fact, Parker Johnston gets out of the way there as he sees the leader coming through. Alonso Jr. has just got this opportunity to let Jimmy Vasser through as well. So the leader at the moment staying out of trouble. Let me just see where Zanardi is, by the way. He's running in 13th position and still trying to make up for that lost ground earlier on.
There is, actually, there's Jimmy Vasser. His next in his sights there is Alonso Jr., who's trying to put a lap out. Unser is in 15th position, holding off Jimmy Vasser there. That's going to cost Jimmy Vasser some time. He's not going to be able to get past on that straightaway. He's not really close enough to get past under braking either. So Alonso Jr. able to maintain position ahead of Jimmy Vasser. Look how close Vasser got under braking though. He brakes so much deeper than Alonso Jr. in the Penske. But the Penske is able to put the power down well, draw away a little bit, and there's no way Jimmy Vasser can get past him there.
So let's just quickly run through the order. You can see it in the top left of your screen, but to quickly say, it's Vasser leading, Gugelmin second, Michael Andretti third, Gilles de Ferran fourth, Greg Moore is fifth, ahead of Scott Pruitt, Ribeiro seventh, Blundell eighth, Herta ninth, Fittipaldi is 10th, Dario Franchitti 11th, and Zanardi has moved up to 12th. Locking up that right front in his attempts to further pull away from Gugelmin and to try and get past Unser, but Unser, if anything, has just pulled away again over that last lap. So Jimmy's not having his all his work very easy here at the moment. Meanwhile, you can see more and more little bits of rubber being thrown off to the side of the track. Offline, if you study the screen, you'll see there really is a whole bunch of rubber all over the place, and that's going to make life very difficult for these drivers as the race continues. Vasser, there he is. Last time around, Gugelmin was a fraction closer, so this is costing Vasser some time, and we could well see the top three beginning to close up again. Michael Andretti is in third place, remember, at the moment, but he's about 4 seconds behind Maurizio Gugelmin. So the result of those first stops and the traffic has meant that we've seen the top three space themselves out a bit.
Yeah, pretty much the same as he was before, Ben. In actual fact, there was 4 seconds from first to second, there was another 6 seconds from second to third, so it's actually fairly much maintained.